Hello and welcome. My name is Kyle, and this is How You Level Up, a podcast that decodes language to help you become your best self. Today we ask, why do we struggle? To understand why we struggle, let's start with a story. Sisyphus has one of the most iconic stories from ancient Greek mythology. It's often cited as a Western example of absurdity, futility, and existentialism. Most people only know Sisyphus through his eternal punishment of struggle, not how he landed there. Zeus, the top god on Mount Olympus, was known for his power and his numerous affairs with gods. Zeus became enamored with Aegina, the daughter of the river god Asopus. And like many supreme gods, Zeus abducted her and took her to an island. This behavior was very typical of Zeus in Greek mythology, where he frequently pursued mortal women and nymphs. Desperate to find his missing daughter, Asopus began searching for her. His pursuit brought him to Corinth, where Sisyphus ruled as king. Known for his intelligence and being well connected, Sisyphus was aware of Zeus's actions and struck a deal with Asopus. In exchange for revealing where Aegina's location was, Sisyphus requested an unending spring for his city. The region suffered from arid conditions, and this spring would greatly benefit his people. Asopus agreed and created the spring. Sisyphus then revealed that Zeus was the culprit who had taken Aegina. This act directly defied Zeus, as a mortal had exposed his actions to a lesser deity. Enraged by this betrayal, Zeus marked Sisyphus' soul for punishment. This punishment left Sisyphus known as a deceitful man, someone not to be trusted. Because Sisyphus was so bright and thought himself better than the gods, with punishment looming, he sought to outwit death itself. When Sisyphus encountered Thanatos, the personification of death, he was told he was being taken to the underworld. Sisyphus cleverly asked Thanatos to demonstrate how the chains that were going to bind him would work. He claimed that he wanted to make sure that they would hold him securely. Thanatos agreed, and Sisyphus, the cunning trickster, managed to chain Thanatos instead, leaving him bound. With death incapacitated, no one could die. Chaos ensued as battles continued without end and the natural order was disrupted. Eventually, the god Ares, hindered in his war activities, freed Thanatos. Sisyphus was then taken to the underworld for his punishment, but not before he managed one more trick. Before fully entering the underworld, Sisyphus instructed his wife, Merope, not to perform his funeral rites. He then convinced Hades, the god of the underworld, to let him return to the world of the living to scold his wife for this neglect. And of course, once back on Earth, Sisyphus refused to return to Hades, living out the rest of his natural life before finally being reclaimed by death. Once finally in the underworld, Zeus and Hades sought a fitting punishment for Sisyphus, tasking him with rolling a boulder up a hill for all eternity. Each time Sisyphus nears the top of the hill, he might believe he will finally reach the end of his suffering. Yet every time the boulder approaches the summit, it escapes his grasp and rolls back down. While there is no direct mention of this in the myth, we are left to wonder why Sisyphus, with all his intelligence, would continue to push the boulder. Was he told by Zeus or Hades that if he could push the boulder up the hill, he would be allowed to leave the underworld? Why doesn't Sisyphus simply abandon the boulder on the hillside and go elsewhere in the underworld, or try to escape another way? This potential deception by the gods parallels a lie we tell ourselves regularly. If I only accomplish this thing, then everything will be okay. Or if I only had more money, more time, more of something that I don't currently have, my life would be better. We tell ourselves this lie, and it is the lie of rewards. Sisyphus wants something beyond the boulder. His desire drives him to feel the futility of his punishment. His punishment is not a physical pain. It is a psychological torment, eternal effort without reward. There's a philosopher, Albert Camus, who wrote an essay called The Myth of Sisyphus in 1942. He reimagined this story as a metaphor for the human condition, the endless struggle against absurdity. To Camus, human life is absurd because humans seek meaning in a world that is inherently indifferent and silent. The clash between the human need for meaning and the universe's indifference creates absurdity. And what can you do with the absurd? You can find happiness in it. And this isn't about creating literal happiness. It's about finding contentment with one's struggles, in the act of living despite absurdity. When Camus asks us to imagine that Sisyphus is happy, there's a nuance. The idea of Sisyphus being happy is often misunderstood as literal joy, which it isn't. More likely, this happiness is about acceptance, defiance, and finding personal meaning within the struggle. If only we could shift our focus from the reward, which is the boulder reaching the top, to the act itself, that of pushing the boulder, then there is light even in the underworld. You see, to live is to struggle. To live is to fight for survival in some manner. To live is to seek partnership and face rejection, or find love and feel cruelty. The ancient Greeks told stories like this because we must learn from Sisyphus. You battle every day against seemingly insurmountable beings and odds. Sometimes you emerge victorious. Other times you face punishment. We must use our intelligence to survive, like Sisyphus. We must be cunning to live. And because the odds are always stacked against us, we must remember that it is not always a reward that is granted. Sometimes all we have is a struggle. And if you can find happiness in the struggle, if you can find a way to live despite absurdity, then it's not a punishment to live. For even in hardships, life is a gift we struggle with. Thank you for listening to How You Level Up. If you're enjoying the show, subscribe and give a 5-star rating. There are new episodes each month asking questions about timeless communication lessons. Language is a medium for sharing, and the knowledge unpacked here can be applied to anyone, anywhere, facing any challenge. If there's a question or topic you'd like me to dive into next, send a note to any of my connected social media accounts. This is all about how you level up.